Massenomics.
Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Honky. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Massenomics podcast. I am Tyler. Joining me, as always, is Tommy.
What's up?
And way over on the other side of the table is Tanner.
Hey, everybody. Looking into the camera. Don't do that very often.
Because every once in a while we like to make eye contact with the audience.
Awkward eye contact.
This week we've got, we're going to dive in. It's a topic we have probably talked about, maybe not to full depth
Well,
before.
but actually, we do have a breaking announcement, though.
Oh, whoa, let's back it up. Is this about the new Kanye album?
No, it's more breaking than that. I saw on Instagram from Rogue that they're throwing bags over bars that we saw at the Strongman are finally available for retail.
So Mark
Henry said...
Now, hang on, though. I looked on their website, though, and they weren't actually available to be bought yet. There was everything there except for buying them.
Okay, so
but they're a product that exists.
Okay, so
and they're
we're
coming
in the
soon,
first
I think,
stage.
still, yeah.
All right, I just thought everyone would want to know because Mark Henry did tell us
2 years
ago
Yeah,
that,
he was just a little bit
that you need to go buy these right
Buy these
now.
on road. Just be patient.
And now you finally had the chance to look at them for possibly pre-order, maybe then?
Now, what are your thoughts? Let's just say for the purpose of throwing a bag over, like for height, like in that way, I think they're like $150.
I would assume.
And that's only for one weight.
Yeah.
So you're going to need, you would probably need 4 of them.
Well, plus you need to do the whole row out front of you of all the decorative ones too. I think that's a necessity.
Like 50 of them. But I would assume at the least you're going to need 4 of them.
Yeah, and you need a really tall ceiling or outside
or outdoors. But like you can't do shit with one because you're just going to be throwing one weight.
But
so you got to
the
spend
ceiling,
like $500-$600.
My question with that stuff too is, do people just like free throw them without like going over a bar? Because you never really know if you're getting better or not.
That doesn't seem very much fun.
I mean,
to me,
that kind of to me takes the game out of it.
Yeah. Plus, you can't prove that you're
right
better than the
It's
people
sort of just like
around you.
only practicing your follow through with basketball and never actually shooting it in a hoop.
Yeah, it's just like it is. It's just like shooting without a hoop. Like that one went in.
Not that I don't not into getting things that have a limited use, but that just is a really
very limited
little fringe.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and the
fringe
way I
case.
look at it too, like I own, my CrossFit gym probably like 50
Sandbags.
60 strong fit sandbags, but those
You can do a lot more.
if I didn't have my fucking elbow tendonitis thing that's been going on forever, like those would be just fine for that too, kind of. Like you couldn't maximize, like having a handle at the top is like
you can
would be the
swing
best
it,
way, but like you can kind of grab the knot on one side and just grab a corner on the other, and you can kind of make that work for like a bag that has multiple purposes. That's my thing is with that one bag, like you'd have to find a way to use it for other shit for that amount of money.
Yeah.
Not, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
you do tie up money in gyms on some specialty items. I mean, it's not like you're
right. That's what I mean. Like I would, I would.
We act
to say,
like,
not like
$150 for this thing. And you can only do one thing with it. And it's like, well, you can kind of only squat one way with a safety squat bar too.
Right.
And
the safety squat bar from Elite too. After getting it, it's certainly a beefy bar.
I used it today.
Yeah.
How much does just the bar weigh?
65 pounds.
Okay.
And it does
I've been
make.
telling people on Instagram it's 200.
Yeah.
So I can feel strong
Yep.
again.
It does. I like our old one, but it does make that one seem like a toy now. Like after having
Just is everything bigger on it?
Question.
yeah.
On that bar, I was playing with it today. Big Jake and I came to a consensus. There is one way that it's meant to face, right?
I think so. Which way did you guys decide?
My way was with the if you're holding it here, it's resting on you, it's free floating, that the camber is somewhat down and forward. The other option, if you turn it around, You know, because if you
Yeah.
flip it around the other way, then the camber is forward and somewhat up.
Yeah.
Well, how are the handles though?
The handles will still
they'd
always
be
be
the same
here.
either way.
Oh, they're perfect.
Yeah,
they're
so
centered.
I'm not saying flip it
Okay.
forward and back. I'm saying
Yeah.
here and then.
Yeah, but a lot of
180
times
degree
the
turn.
handles on some of them
Oh
have
yeah,
a little
these
tip
are
down
no
to
they're
them.
turn.
straight.
These are totally
Okay.
straight. Yeah.
Yeah. What I guess I'm not sure which way it was, but you know do you know the
pad?
lettering where it's on the lettering on the
I
pad?
wanted it on
on top
and readable
Yeah.
from behind.
Yeah, that's what.
But then in my head,
I
I was
thought.
like, did Tanner put this pad on?
No, it was like that. So
Okay.
that's what.
So I think
we
we
should
settled
probably
on
but
red.
you could do it both ways, but it would be different.
It would
sure.
definitely be different. And
Yeah.
so I did it once the other way, and I was like, just because it's also I don't safety squat very often, so I was like, this seems hard. There must be something wrong with it that's not me. And then of course with like 275 on the bar with my shoes untied, I'm like walking outside of the rack, getting it turned around and backing it in like an asshole just to change it. But it did feel much better. It seems like it sits on you better.
Yeah.
So we need like a this end up sticker on it.
People can do what they want.
Yeah,
but
it'll be whatever.
Yeah.
So
Well, there kind of is this like the
They're also-
writing. I think is the.
But I do
this end.
kind
Yeah.
of think though that there is a purpose to that. Maybe not, but there's probably a use to it because I know on Duffin's
Yeah.
transformer bar there is a position with which it is up.
Right.
It starts up, so it's constantly. It's not just kind of trying to fold you up. I mean, the weight is there, and it is really aggressive
Yeah.
then because it's not at a 45 down to you. It's really radical, but all in all, I liked it. I don't use it very often, so it's just like ripped my fucking core up trying to stay tight.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's a
Which
good
I'll
bar.
use it as long as I feel like a wuss lately. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do something different when I squat for a while.
It is easier to.
I just hang
grab
on
it
to
like
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like man, my elbows hurt. I
Yeah.
just
It's like,
squeeze the thing.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of bars and stuff, do you ever have a word that you've read a bunch of times and say it a certain way in your head, but have no idea if you how it
now that I've
actually is
gotten
to be
older,
said?
it happens less than when I was in elementary school, but it still happens occasionally.
Are we talking about a C word?
Yeah.
All right, earmuffs.
But that word of that coding that Rogue is doing to
I
their bars.
believe it is a soft C.
That's
think
what I-
it's
that's
called
what-
a
how I said.
Cerakote.
Okay.
Sarah.
And I've said Cerakote in my head and I literally have never heard
can
it
I
said.
see the word again?
I've never heard it said, so I never knew if that was
To
right.
to spell it out, if no one has any idea what we're talking about, the word is Cerakote. Cerakote. I would buy that. I don't know if that's right or not.
Have you ever heard anyone say it?
No.
That's like nobody knows, so nobody wants to
I'm gonna
say
go
it.
to how to pronounce.
yeah.
Rogue has to have a video on YouTube where they say it.
Is there 2 R's or 1 R's?
1 R.
Okay. We'll go to
It's
how
not
to
it's
pronounce.com.
not Cerakote.
And also about what it actually is. Like, is it
Isn't it
good
just like a
or-
harder
Yeah.
coding? Like I'd
Like
never
that-
heard of it until
They started throwing it on.
they had
bars.
it like on some like bar for Thor or something.
Cerakote.
Cerakote.
Cerakote. Okay.
Cerakote.
Oh, that was clear.
Cerakote.
Well,
That's Tyler's sex robot talking right now.
listen. He or she.
All right,
Means
back
a
in the
lot to
closet,
me.
robot.
Yep. No, that's like I don't even understand. Is it like a powder coating kind of?
It must be different though.
But
Something
here's
about
the
it.
deal though. It still fucking wears off, and so, and like there are plenty of people that have had those that this still wears off. So
Yeah.
like as long as you're not, I guess, paying for it with the assumption that you're always going to have an American flag on your bar because it ain't gonna stick for very
Yeah.
long.
So is that? But what is? Do we actually know what it actually is? Is it?
Expensive paint.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
know.
It's
I don't know. It must be some sort of different process.
We've got one. I do think it's some sort of process. Well, let's inform.
We could
the
actually-
people.
maybe we should just speculate what we
Well-
think it is for another half hour. Or
That's
so.
usually what we do. Like, what I have seen people talk about, there's two things. You could either have the shaft be that, or now some have the sleeves that are like that too. And they say on the sleeves it pretty much wears
Total
off.
fucking
like,
waste, yeah.
Yeah.
What is even the point of coating your sleeves? I
That's-
guess if it's
yeah.
painted, maybe.
But also, what's kind of the point of coating the fucking shaft?
Right.
It's just-
yeah.
So it looks like It's a Cerakoting is a thing similar with guns. Also, it's a spray-on liquid ceramic, and then is baked and cured to a thin ceramic tough coating.
And so when they say spray on here, like, is that the actual paint, the finish that's going on it?
No idea. And like I'm finding applications from guns to vehicles to I really don't know. It sounds like powder coating is fine till it gets a nick and then it'll rust out. But then it'll be great at hiding rust, and then it'll all flake off and there'll be really bad damage. I don't know.
Someone out there listening probably knows pretty well. You can you can let us know.
Yeah. This word was completely new to me until like 3 weeks ago when Rogue had a post about it, and it just seemed like everyone knew what it was.
It seems to be Rogue's new hotness, though.
Yeah.
Have you know? I mean,
I'm waiting for I have a feeling they're going to start seeing now. They're going to have their custom rigs that can be set up like that too. So you'll have like you can, instead of just being like a powder coated rig, you can have like your logo and branding all over it. You can have American, like any number of things.
Yeah.
We've got one of their green Rogue Cerakoted bars that, looks badass.
Yeah.
But it's already like wearing a little bit. Where it sits in the J cups, it's always
are the sleeves on that?
They're black. Yeah.
And they're
I believe so.
Cerakote?
But they're getting, tore up.
I can't imagine a finish on that.
I think it would look awesome to just leave them fucking bare anyways. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I never be like, I sure wish the sleeves on this bar were red.
Right.
Right. But I guess you can create problems when everything's fine. Like it's like if you're at a place where all you have is shitty $40 bars to squat on.
Yeah.
You'd kill for a Rogue Cerakoted bar too. Or here we've got everything you could want at Massenomics, and it's like this all seems really stupid.
Right. You were talking, as long as we're talking about equipment, you were talking about the dumbbells the other day to me.
Oh, yeah.
That might be worth mentioning, too.
So
people might get something out of that.
We'll go into some depth a little bit in the future. We'll do a video at some point on all the Titan equipment that I've now had for some time. However, and I have not contacted them on this and given them the opportunity to make this right, but the Titan Circus dumbbell is a total piece of shit. Like, it looks good, feels good. You could tell, though, the metal on the bell is not very, I was like, it might get dented up. I can always bang that out. Who gives a shit? But, I've only used it 6 or 7 times, in 6 or 7 training sessions, and the thing is fucking totally bent. Did you see it? Were you at the gym?
No,
I just told you about
it.
It. If you sit one bell end, the even one, down, and it stands upright, the handle comes up straight, and then now the other end is just bent on the shaft. And no joke, in a 12-inch, is it 12 or 14-inch, 12-inch wide bell, it's like an inch and a half out of whack. It's just bent.
So it's just cheap steel.
And I've never, ever dropped the thing on the ground. I use full-on crash pads I have 6 huge foam sofa cushions.
Yeah.
And that's all that thing's ever been dropped into. It has never been hit hard on anything. And that fucking thing bent.
If you did hit it hard on something, it would probably be.
I can't even imagine what would happen to it. Or how fucked up it would be by now. I don't know how it wouldn't just totally break.
Yeah.
Because this is softer than dropping it onto your mattress at home, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit of a shame. I'm gonna contact them and give them a chance to at least fucking replace it with one that's not bent.
Yeah. Does Rogue make a circus dumbbell?
They do, but it's just
have globe bells. Or
it's just the ones that you load with
lead shot.
Oh,
they're you don't
like
load
the
plates.
old timey.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
which are awesome.
Yeah.
But my thing,
they're really expensive.
My
too.
complaint with those is I don't have a complaint with those. I'm sure they're great, but are you gonna?
That's not real handy.
No, are you gonna?
Let's dump this lead shot out.
You almost need one at every weight still.
Yeah.
And at the price, because there's no fucking way you're gonna okay, so I'm gonna warm up
Let me
with
get my
180
Allen
pounds
wrench
and
out
then 200 pounds, and then nobody's getting out a funnel and a bunch of lead shot. So what's gonna happen is that thing's gonna sit at 215
forever.
Totally fucking. Everyone's just gonna grab it cold and be like, "Oh, I couldn't do it." And it just becomes a thing. It's not even a training tool. It's just
really
an
not a
item that sits
loadable.
there. No, not really.
Yeah.
It'll be a fixed weight once you fill it up once.
Yeah.
But speaking of all these toys, though, Tanner, we talked about maybe diving into a little bit of depth about like actually starting your own gym, and not. This probably is not it's not business advice.
No.
Because if you want to know how to run a financially, if you want if you want to not make very much money off of a gym, you could do what I do and just own a CrossFit gym, and you can like make a living. But like that's also I wouldn't be the one to give you great advice on how to get rich at that either, because I haven't figured that out yet either.
Yeah, definitely not business.
But
advice,
definitely, this isn't like business advice. We hear from people all the time who like don't have anywhere good to train. They're going to a global gym and they're trying to train on some just shit equipment with assholes around.
Yeah,
and, like,
and they have 5 or 10 friends that
also
say this
hate
sucks,
it.
but it's like, well, already you're halfway there, or maybe even all the way there almost.
And so, and I know we've talked about this before. We just want to make sure we go maybe into the specifics as far as like what you, the listener, actually can do, because you didn't have any means that were really exceptional when you started.
No.
It's not like you were like independently wealthy like you are now.
Well, you did have that
you didn't have all
lottery
this-
ticket and that car accident settlement. So
You didn't have all this Massenomics money back then.
Unfortunately not. I had to do without. But
Turns out making memes on the internet pays pretty good.
you should see the likes we're getting on those. We're
gonna
rich in
I mean,
likes.
money can't buy that.
No.
So
Actually, I think it can.
And it's not worth money. So
But it's worth all the time we put into it. But anyway, so again, we've gone into it before, but let's talk a little bit about the start. So Tanner, you and the fellas were lifting at the YMCA, hating that about as much as a person can hate anything.
it's not very, there's probably tons of people that experience that, where you're just in an environment where it's not very conducive for doing the sort of things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like simple things like being able to have music on, use chalk, deadlift.
decent quality equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just passable equipment. even.
Yeah. And how many times have you heard someone say like, "Oh, I'd really like to start a gym," like that? When you're in that environment, like anyone that lifts at a place like that, you've probably have 10 people that say that same thing.
And with that right away, like just saying, like someone saying, "I want to start a gym," like that's totally possible. It's easier than you would think. But I think the big thing right away is like managing like your expectations and your
Yes.
intentions with this, because I think a lot of people say like, "I'm going to start a gym,"
And I want A, B, C, D, E, F,
Well,
G, H, I, J, K,
and
it's like-
on top of that, I'm going to make a lot of money doing it. So it's like you have to realize like if
Do you want a gym or do you want a job? Because you're probably not both going to be at the same place, at least not right away.
and also like if it's like we said, you and 5 of your buddies, you and 10 of your buddies, you probably got to realize like it's just if it breaks even, that's doing great, because it's purely a hobby. Like there's not a lot of hobbies that.
And I think the way Tanner went about it with Massenomics Gym is probably a little more. I think it's more possible and useful than doing simply a garage gym. And here's why. When you buy a garage gym, you are not going to receive any revenue off of that equipment at all. And you got to buy all of it yourself. It all comes out of your pocket. And you're the only one fucking using it. So, like, that equipment is not even really... You're just not getting the bang for your buck. Like, you're kind of spending a lot of money for just one person to use it. That if in literally in any different location, some of that equipment can start paying for itself a little bit.
And I think a garage gym, even just to set it up. I
When
mean,
you say
could do it
garage gym,
cheaper.
when you guys say garage gym, you're talking garage gym at your residence.
your garage. Yeah,
Because some people
your
say, "Well,
one
this gym's in a
2-stall
garage."
Yeah. But I think, I mean, you could do it for cheaper, and you can always do it for cheaper, of course. But even with like good quality used equipment, I think like to have what I would want as a garage gym, it's probably going to cost someone still like $3,000. I think as a fair estimate. So it's going to cost you some money to get that going.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, someone would say they could do it for $500, and you could. But like
all those things have to be available at a price that, and like what? Okay, so you could get a passable squat rack for a couple $100, but like, what if someone else buys that one? You're gonna wait 6 months. So you are kind of beholden to what is available at the time.
Yeah. And with this though, I kind of think the first step is just kind of like doing what you can to get some type of commitment from people, because you don't want to go into this whole thing and then be like, oh, I'm all alone on this island, because then you kind of shot yourself in the foot. So
and then you're in a lease, and
so like with that, it's everyone's different. You kind of got to know who you're dealing with, like whether it's your friends, your lease, whatever it is. You got to kind of have a feel for the situation. And if you really do feel like you have some people that are ready to commit and make this jump, then you can start to kind of see what your numbers are, and you can kind of almost start to set up a budget.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't have any friends or social skills at all, this probably isn't going to be your thing.
No, it's
You know what I mean?
really not
Like,
good. It
you
wouldn't
know, it
work.
really isn't.
No.
Like you do have to be, like, as it goes along, you like this needs to happen right away. We can get into the we'll get into the specifics that you run into, but like Tanner has to be assertive a lot in situations that are really inconvenient for him, that don't fucking have much benefit to him either.
Yeah.
So there's just like it's like, oh, I gotta fucking go do this for this thing that makes nothing.
Yeah.
And like that's a pain in the ass. And also you do have to get soft commitments from people. So if you are the weird person at your gym, going around asking people if they want to join your gym, like, and like you do need to know these people.
Everyone that we started with was like at the very least my gym friend. You know, like people I chatted with at the gym on a regular basis over the course of many months.
And you didn't go into it with the mentality of, well, if I just build it, they will come. Like,
no,
that's a scary spot to go.
Because, in all honesty, you'll do it, and even people that said that they'll do it won't.
Yeah.
Like that's the truth. That's the truth. I'm not like firing shots at anyone or anything like that, but like, however many people you talk to and they say that they're going to, be like, oh yeah, if like you can't just go by like, oh yeah, man, that'd be cool. You know, because people will just say that.
Yeah.
People
don't like to be rude.
Yeah,
people don't like to be rude.
Right, exactly. So you'll know, some people really like if I talk to you about it and at the time like we did and you said you're going to do it, I'm like in my mind or on paper, I knew like, yes, that person. And I literally did that, like wrote everyone down and like, okay, these 8 people, I feel like I'll give it like 90+%.
They're in the hard commit category.
Yeah, and then maybe there's these 7 that I'm like, they said that, but I'm not taking that to the bank.
That could be 2, it could be 6. Yeah.
So yeah, that is a really big part of it, because that also influences what type of space you're looking for. And that probably not very glamorous part of it, but that's probably maybe the most important piece of it is one, finding a spot that can accommodate what you want to do, and then also accommodate your income, because that can be really, really, really difficult depending on what part of the country you live in. And
that is the hardest part, I think, of starting it, is finding a space. Like you said, it has to be a space.
So should I just run my credit card on Rogue and max it out before I get a space, though? Or
that would be a good point. I'm trying to think if I wonder if I had any equipment before a space. It's actually hard for me to remember that at this point, but I don't think I really had any equipment. I had my eye on stuff, but I hadn't spent $1 on any equipment until I had like a lease signed, because
Tanner is cheap.
Well, that's very true too. But gyms are loud and hard on floors and
that's
walls.
Also, I think something that a lot of people don't realize is because they're probably in a commercial gym setting where, you're not supposed to be dropping weights. The music that's playing is just whatever Sirius XM, like quiet rock station is on. Yeah. And everyone there is pretty chill. But like, you're trying to leave that environment. So that's not what you're looking for. You're not going to go in the strip mall with an office on each side of you and say
you need a dungeon. You need somewhere on its own. Like it's got to probably be kind of shitty.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's probably got to be shitty.
Yep. You need lights, an outlet or 2, and a fucking bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah, because a bathroom is a huge deal.
A bathroom is a necessity.
Yep.
Like that's, you take that for granted.
Yeah.
Normally, but going through the process, you have to be factoring in a bathroom. Like that's
powerlifters shit.
Yes. Yeah. Like
shit a lot.
You can't go to the gym and not have a bathroom. Like it just doesn't.
We can't go to our gym and not smell poop. Yeah. So like that thing's getting used.
Yes.
And so with the location, a bathroom is huge. Your neighbors are majorly huge too, because that can be a pain. I mean, just like anywhere you live, anywhere you work, who you're around has a huge influence on how easy or hard your life can be. So like being aware of your neighbors, like what their hours are, that's a really big part of it.
Yeah.
And even like your access, you know, like with real estate, you know, location, like that's a big spot too. Or if your gym is, you find a cheap spot, but it's 30 miles from where most people live, they're probably not going to go to it because it's a pain in the ass to get there. So actually finding the right spot is it's a really big part of the puzzle.
Yeah. Another thing tied into all that too in that process is the landlords
Yeah, also
that you
the
deal
landlord.
with. There's a lot of people that are landlords that are like, at the least, I would say, interesting to deal with.
Yeah. Yes.
From my experiences in life,
A lot of landlords just they don't necessarily have their property because they're business savvy. They have it because they've had it forever.
And a lot of them have it forever because it's been in their family forever.
And that
Which
is
means
exactly
you
what I
maybe
mean.
have somebody who's not socially good at things, or maybe not even business savvy. So you're just like, how in the world do you end up in this situation? And you just can't take for granted that this person is assertive, intelligent, or anything. You're just like, you're just dealing with the person who owns the fucking spot.
And they
fucking
completely fell
anything-
into that. So.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
But with the budget, with what we said the space has to be, shitty is okay because that's what works for, you know.
Because you're just going to yell and smash things.
Like our original place was very shitty.
It was
like
yeah,
it was
couldn't
very
have
dirty,
been.
And that's
it couldn't have been a dirtier.
No, it couldn't have. And that's part of the scoping these places out is
It was almost outside. It was such a basement that it was almost not inside.
You couldn't clean it. Like it had
No.
been
what was
swept.
it? What was it
and-
like? It was about 100-year-old building, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably even more than
Yeah,
that.
probably,
like
120.
And the concrete in it was not like your nice smooth finished concrete. It was like the oldest, most porous.
Well, it's like the concrete was
cru-
turning into dirt.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
all the concrete had like salt growing on it.
Yeah. And the walls were like a weird coated thing. I don't know what material. It was kind of like concrete, except it would crumble very, very
I think
easily.
it was concrete that had many, many layers of like enamel paint.
Yeah,
on it to
yeah.
try to
And
stop it from
asbestos,
falling
right?
apart.
Potentially. And also size-wise, you don't need that much space for, 10, 15 guys to
Yeah,
to
like
be able to
if this
train.
really is like a powerlifting gym, a CrossFit gym, there's a little more requirements there. But powerlifters, let's be honest, no one's trying to run or move around.
No.
Like, it's maybe your advantage to have stuff as close as possible, so you don't have to walk anywhere.
It has to be with people that are going to, because of those tight quarters, you can't have 10 people that all walk into the gym and put their headphones on and like don't talk to each other
like
because
drop duffel bags and set up camp. And at that point, you've taken over the gym if you do that.
no, because there's a lot of sharing of equipment that has to go
Yeah.
on because you're probably going to have one or two squat racks, one or two benches.
And the people do need. You have to be selective about the people. You can't just take anybody because if you do have a fucking couple dicks, like everybody's so close together, and you need people to be respectful of other people's space and time and equipment. And if you have a couple people who are assholes, it will fuck up it'll fuck up the whole vibe.
Yeah.
So, and you've been pretty good about that. About be like, no, not just anybody's gonna come here. Like,
And it usually, I'd say over the 2-3 years, we've gotten a few people that maybe haven't fit in quite as well with everyone, but it kind of sorts itself out in time. Like if you're not into the whole vibe of it and the sharing of equipment and like the way that everyone is, you're probably not going to stay there very long because you're just, it's not going to be comfortable for you and not going to feel normal. So there has been a few cases like that, but it works itself out, in time too.
so let's jump into the financials. of
One
the
other
beginning,
thing, though,
okay?
quick with the lease, I think another really important part to pay attention to is how long of a lease term you're signing. If this is your first run at
15 years
you,
minimum.
you probably don't want to be signing that multi-year lease.
That's
a year
yeah.
lease might even be a little scary too.
There's some liability in that for, I was signing my name on the lease. So like if 3 months down the road it was like, well, this didn't work. I still, I have to either pay that or, work out. More than likely I'm not going to end up having to pay 9 months of a shithole space that was worthless for anything else anyways. There's probably some compromise there with the landlord if you're able to communicate that with them, but there's liability, you know, that it,
And that part of it,
someone's gotta do
is
that.
also limiting what you're getting into. So like you had 10 guys, you got basically, you didn't reach too hard, too far. You're not like, well, we can only afford it if we get 5 more guys. Like you pretty much got what you could afford right away.
Yeah.
And figured you'd grow out of it, not grow into it, right?
Right. Definitely. That's a good phrase
Yeah,
too. I think,
I think that is.
You want something I don't think having something you're going to grow into, especially in the beginning, is ever a
Not
good idea.
financially,
Yes.
at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got a little more space than you need, that's fine. But you needed
Yes.
You needed something that you could probably afford to swing for a few months if the shit hit the fan, or at the very least, if few people drop off, that you can float the difference without it like breaking you personally.
Yes.
And you probably, when you get into something like this, guys, you have to be willing to put some of your own money in to get things moving along. Months come, months go. Like if you got to throw a couple $100 to keep the fucking lights on, it is kind of on you to do it. Because the guys that are left, it's, you know what I mean? They did come with an expectation that they'd have fucking heat.
Right.
You know?
Right. Some basic.
The toilet woodwork. And,
Right.
So we got the members and the idea. We got a location picked out. Is now when we just max out the credit card on Rogue.
That's how I handle all my personal finances, basically. So
Tanner does the opposite of me. I am that guy.
yeah. One other thing about the members, though, too, that I was just thinking is, if they want to be members, that's good. You need that. But also, like with everyone that I got a lot of like physical help from people, because I'm not, I can only invest so much of my time or so much of my money into it that it literally required like people helping me move stuff, people helping me paint walls, do shitty work. But it wasn't super hard to get people to do that because there was people that really wanted the end.
Yeah,
the
that
end
is
goal.
kind of there's
They're
like feedback into itself that if you get people that really do want to be a part of it, people will be happy to make their environment better. So,
Yeah.
that is a big component.
And that's what's worked well for us, I think some at this point, we have some people that are just there because they like the gym and, it's a cheap membership and whatever, but a majority of the members are pretty bought into the whole thing. Like if I had to call someone to help me do something shitty, usually I can find someone to help me do that because it's not my, I don't like it it's not my full-time job. It's like not even barely my part-time job. So I don't, like I said, I don't always have the time to like throw myself into some of that stuff, but with the help of everyone, it's worked out really well because the people are willing to help when they have to.
Yep. So then
I want to dive into one thing before we go further. So day one, you sign the lease. We're not there anymore. Who cares? So what did you charge per person?
30. Well, it was going to be 30. 35 was the number that I wanted to charge people just because
Seemed like a good number.
Yeah, it's basically you couldn't go to any other gym for less. For the most part. Like maybe there's a special where it's going to be less, but for the most part, that's going to be just about the lowest. And I wanted it to be, not saying I wanted it to be the cheapest, but I just wanted it to be, relatively speaking, a low number because that was part of what I didn't like about where we were at previously is like it was always just going up and going up. And I'm like, well, okay, it's going up, but you're not getting anything
more. There's
it's like, there better be, like, I'd like to see something changing if, like, I'm paying more. So that was part of the thought process on that. But then I realized I need to pay sales tax. So I just added that
tax.
into the, just added that in. So it made it 38. That's why it's 38.
Look into your tax laws and your,
That's,
there actually are some states in which, and cities, but you don't have to pay city sales tax on membership products. Our state, we do.
Yep.
That
is a whole thing. I mean, sales tax. Like,
you don't want to eat that.
Yeah, no. But like just getting your sales tax license, what type of entity you're gonna be.
You're probably gonna want something that protects you from a liability standpoint.
Yeah, so
even though in the grand scheme of things at that smaller level, even though you're an LLC, every fucking thing you do requires a personal guarantee anyways.
Right, exactly. But like just doing that stuff
takes time.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how to have like if you're just like tomorrow, if you've never done it before, and someone's like, "Oh, go start an LLC," and you're like,
Okay.
"Oh, all right, how?" I guess you Google it, and that's your starting point. But you got to get federal tax ID number and insurance.
There's all these weird steps that need to happen before another.
Yeah.
And so all three of us have actually done it now.
Yeah.
With you with this, with the business and the gym, me with my gym, Tommy with your business. Now we're like, if you get, what we find when you go through these things that like you think that someone would just know. You think that there's a person out there who's like, oh, this is how you start a business. You just boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
And I start looking on the internet. It's like, oh, there's like, and even if you ask around,
Well,
like,
because
there's nobody
the thing-
in your life
because-
who's like, oh yeah, just do these things.
Because
sort of.
here's the thing is like everyone's like, well, I know someone that owns a business. Well, a lot of times, especially when you think of successful business owners, they have people to do that for them, so they don't even know how that part works. It's like I said I wanted to start my business, I put my people on it, and they got it going.
Yeah, or they have like already have a business, and they have 8 other businesses, and it's the same thing. It's like, well, I was going to start this thing, so my lawyers just ran with it.
Yeah.
It's all created, and now here I am just doing things.
Yeah, and I've like that
They're
is a huge
accountants,
learning
so,
experience.
Like
Like
us doing it ourselves, you're just like,
Yeah.
really, you just
Like,
have to start doing it.
I went to the bank, literally had a meeting set up with a banker, sat
bank
down.
accounts. That's a good.
Yeah,
a whole other
like
thing
because
too.
I'm like, yeah, I need a bank account. And you sit down, and they say, okay, do you have this number? I'm like, I've never heard of that number. And they're like, well, if you want to open a bank account, you need this number. It's like, okay, I'll take my stuff and go home and try again. And then, and then
it's
like 4 days later, I have this magical number, and I go back and just hope like, I think I have everything.
I should have asked more questions.
Yeah. But yeah, you're gonna look dumb at some point in it because
Yes.
that's
The
how that
nice
goes.
thing about anything you do where technically you are owning your own business, even though this may not be your job, you're going to look dumb most of the time. So get over that real quick.
Very true.
So you got set up. Membership was. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the bank, tied into the membership and the bank account, a key element for this to work for us, and I'd say specifically to work for me. I had this set up from the get go. This is the only way it would have worked for me. Otherwise, it
can't
would
do it
never.
any other way.
It would. This
turns
may
into
be
that-
the most important thing of
Yeah.
everything I'm telling you today. That if you do not do this, it will not work.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee, and you will like lose friends over the thing.
and tons of time.
Yes, you have to have the payment set up automatic, ACH payments.
Or,
Because collecting money from your
turns into
friends
that
every month.
It turns into that scene from the movie. Hey Joe, you're 6 months late on gym payments. like you don't want to do that thing.
and like it's tight to begin with at the beginning, so you need that.
and there just is no. It's the same thing with my gym. Like, if it's not automated, it doesn't happen. Because here's the deal. I'll have every once in a while, I'll have people who like a credit card will expire or something like that, and ours will run cards or ACH, but and it'll expire, and their payment will try to run the first, and it won't. The average time it takes in correspondence for me, and I'm not joking, this has happened 6 times in the year that I've been open. There's been 6 people who have anything, the card goes fraud or whatever. That card just gets declined, right?
Yeah.
And all they need to do is update their payment information on the account. They could give it to me or literally just this is a fucking app on their fucking phone that'll do it for me. And the average time is 3.5 weeks, which means it is only at best just before the next month is due. And one person took 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so there's literally no way you could do it. And especially when you're doing it small and tight, like that money's just got to come in. And because you're not making a living doing this, you need to find a way to automate as much of it as possible.
Like the time management of just literally like collecting the money, depositing it,
Signing the thing,
like that just doesn't. I would shudder at the thought of it. It wouldn't work because. I mean, human beings just like not everyone is going to be there with
it just doesn't work
their
that
check
way.
for you on the first of the month or on that day. Like it would never work, and it would and you would get upset And like to that person, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. They'd be like, "Oh, I'll get you next month." And then the record keeping of all that too. You're like, "Well, shit, Tommy paid me 2 months ago. Tyler paid me 4 months ago.
Well, so and so paid me 3 months in cash
Yeah.
at a time, but said he's good for, and so yeah, there's no way. So that's got to be locked in.
Yes, and that there's sometimes a little bit of a cost associated with that, but there's
no
That's
cost.
the cost of doing
figure
business.
that cost
Yeah.
because you need that.
Next along now, what was your expenses right away in that first setup?
So
Aside from like legally establishing the business,
Yeah.
you're really looking at a few $100.
Yeah, it's not
LLC,
that
say
expensive.
yeah, it's not really like all that stuff we're
But
talking
what are
about.
your
It's not really
monthly
monetary worry.
obligations, like your operating costs?
Rent is, in our case, is always the biggest thing. So that
What was that? Because we've actually been really fortunate that none of our rents have been crazy high.
no, it was actually $300 a month, I think.
And for perspective here, what was it? 20 by 20 room.
Yeah, would that
Maybe.
be right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
I suppose 20 by 20.
This is a 20 by 20 room in
Yeah.
a basement of a 120-year-old building in South Dakota. So like, I mean that is really cheap.
And not like Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
What could make finding a space easier is not living somewhere where it gets to be negative 40 degrees in the winter. If you lived in California,
You can literally use a goddamn parking lot in a tarp.
Right.
You'll be all right.
that would really open your options. But here, that does not
Yeah,
work.
you need somewhere.
You could get
that's-
by with a shed.
Yeah,
in a
like
lot of places.
that is a huge consideration because we
Here you
need
need
somewhere
climate
that
control.
that can save you when it's negative 40 outside, and also where you're not going to die of heat stroke when it's 105 and 90% humidity.
Yeah. So the cost, though, the main monthly cost is that rent is going to be at least 50% of your monthly costs. Some sort of liability insurance. I won't really get into the details of that, of what you should or shouldn't have, and some of that someone is going to have to take on some personal liability in some way or another. Just like you said, the liability LLC doesn't shield you from anything and everything possible happening. Whatever insurance you get doesn't shield you from anything and everything, but you should get some
You gotta
type of
cover your ass a
liability
little bit,
insurance. I mean, you don't necessarily need to insure every piece of equipment you've got in there and all that crap, but you do need some liability insurance. So that
Do they allow you to insure the toilet? Like, is there a special policy for?
that premium would be way too high for us. We would not be able to afford the premium on the toilet insurance because it gets blown up very regularly. What else monthly expense wise? There's not the sales tax. I have to pay. I pay that on a monthly.
So, like some buildings, the heating and cooling, you might be on the
Yes,
hook for.
depending on how you're-
utilities.
yeah,
Yep, so
depending
that's
on how
another
you-
thing to factor in.
And if you are paying that separately yourself, that would be the number 2 expense that I would say is your utility bill. Other than that, not too much as far as a monthly expense. The other initial expense, of course, is equipment. You do have to.
And what are some
something.
tips? Because I would imagine almost no one doing this is gonna just shell out the big bucks for all new stuff. Like
Right. That's
So-
the key. Used versus new.
yeah, and especially with weights, 45-pound plates are pretty much 45-pound plates.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of difference there, really.
We got good. We had Fort York 45-pound plates, so there's some cost associated with that. Still not a lot because they're used. You could get even cheaper used ones, but for doing what we are doing, you almost have to start with used equipment because the upfront cost, it would triple it if you went with new
And it's
equipment.
like looking on Craigslist, that's a big one. And
Craigslist.
even some people might say, well, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's no good deals. Tanner, you could also say
Travel
that.
a little bit.
Yeah, that's
You live within 5 hours of somewhere.
It requires. I mean, you have to want to do this in order for it, because there is going to be some things you could maybe call annoying, or there's going to be some time and work involved in doing it. So you do have to do a lot of Craigslisting, like searching. I mean,
And
Most of the
that's
stuff
looking
you
in the
got off of Craigslist, what was the average travel time?
5 hours.
Yeah,
5
away.
hours
because-
each way.
I mean, the biggest large city we live close to is Minneapolis, St. Paul, and that's a 5-hour drive or a little
even
less.
like at my gym, my cable machines, fucking steal of a deal.
Yep.
But it's 5.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still got it. I just I'll take it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I had like my wife and sister were there. They got it loaded up in pieces, and it worked. I still would have done that deal 10 days out of 10.
One of the times I hired U Shipping, I think is that what it's called.
Yeah.
To ship a whole bunch of the plates and stuff from, I can't remember if that came from, that must have been a little bit farther away. I worked out this was a Craigslist, over the first emailing, and then I got the guy to call me, and with enough conversation, he realized I'm not
fucking around.
Yeah, I'm I have the money and I want this, but I live 8-hour drive from you.
Yeah, I'd like to.
What are
not
our
have to
options
do that,
here?
yeah.
And so U Shipping is, I think that's what it's called, but there's a reality show, Shipping Wars is a reality show, and that's the company that they do, and you can bid, you put your job out there. So I said, this is what I have, where it's at, and I need it in Aberdeen, South Dakota on such and such
Basically
date.
anytime.
Yeah, and they send you a bid, and I might have spent $300 on that, but in that case, it was worth it for me to
not miss 2 days of work
Right,
and travel
right.
for.
Because alternatively, what I did a couple times, 2 different times, is get my pickup and my enclosed trailer, load them up and go to, or not load them up, take them empty to Minneapolis, load them up at a point that is completely
Very dangerous.
Completely dangerous. Very
You would tell you something about trailer tires. Whatever it is that they think trailers are used for, their tires are not fucking meant for that. Trailer tires are good for about 3 trips of actual work.
Yes.
Ever. So anytime you got some shit on a trailer, you're like, this motherfucker's gonna go.
And our almost the full dumbbell set that we have now, which is 30s through.
Because that's the thing. This stuff's designed to be heavy.
Yes, it is all weight. I had those all in my trailer, along with a lot of other stuff.
And your trailer is not
it's not
car moving trailer.
No. It's a motorcycle trailer or a lawnmower trailer or something like that. And I was going through rush hour traffic in, I don't know if you don't, those aren't interstates or whatever. They're whatever they are, the big 7-lane wide.
Yeah.
And I literally was just sitting there and I kept picturing Final Destination. That my trailer rolls and explodes, and there's just 60-pound dumbbells flying through windshields, and what I would do,
Tanner's well, it's a good thing I really maxed out my liability coverage.
because it's going to be high. But no, it does require some travel probably, and a lot of research to find equipment that's going to work.
You got to get the deals. You can't be an idiot either. There's some time and cost involved in going and doing that. If you could have spent $300 and not more and not had to go on that trip, you would have. But it really is just a matter of what you can get and when you can get it.
Would you say a good guideline for price per pound people should be looking for weights?
Oh, I think that. If you're just buying steel plates, you should be spending less than $1 a pound. And if you could get them for the good thing is, or in our case, the good thing, the more you're buying, usually the less the cheaper price you can get. So I bought a lot of plates at under 50 cents a pound, which is a good deal.
And the thing is, once you have enough, you have a bit of leverage because you're not in need.
Right.
And then that exposes you to a lot of really good deals. Meaning, anytime on some Facebook marketplace, some Tom, Dick, or Harry that had a decent, it won't be nice, but an Olympic bench set where he's got a shitty barbell but at least pair of 45s, pair of 25, they'll sell that shit for dirt cheap. You can get yourself some plates that way for really dirt cheap because they just want it out of their fucking basement. But you can't probably build your gym around those. You got to get the big batches of shit or you're going to be fucking around forever.
You spend some time, you end up having to spend some time educating yourself on equipment. The amount of knowledge I have now on brands and styles and makes of
and durability,
things like
and
squat
quality.
racks and stuff like that, and of course barbells at this point. But 3 years ago, I really didn't know that. I wasn't I knew what a Texas Power Bar was and stuff, but bars is the easy thing to, wrap your head around.
But there are a lot of resources. Like, a lot of people have these questions, so you do some
Yeah.
Googling, put the time into the research.
And I ended up making, a few connections with people that buy and sell equipment that they would even, I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Let me know if you come across this. If you know anyone that's got it, I'd want to buy that. And after you've, given them several $100 bills prior, then they're like, oh, you actually have money to give me, because a lot of people
just speculate.
Right.
Yep.
So you build some relationships. But one funny story about going to get equipment is, this was a set of we have a set of, I think, 140s and 150s. They're Hampton pro style dumbbells. They're really nice. Really nice dumbbells are two heavy sets. Those I bought just those from a guy off of Craigslist in somewhere over by Minneapolis, and he lived like not in the nicest neighborhood. As I'm pulling up, I'm like, okay, all right, and getting ready to pull out, and pull up into his driveway area, and I found it, and it was I don't know the adjectives or words, but it was used, but it was very sketchy. I was nervous getting out,
With a
by
pocket full
myself.
of money.
Yeah, yes, a pocket full of money, and this person knows that, So I go knock on the door. Nobody comes. I hear like 70 dogs barking. Is what it sounds like. It sounds like I'm just knocked on
the Humane Society.
Yes. And I turned to leave and go away. I'm like, all right, screw it. I just want to be alive at the end of today, and I'm not gonna go. And then the guy finally comes to the door and answers it, and it's like pure chaos in this house behind him. And I was like, oh, I was here about the dumbbells. I was gonna buy those. And he's like, oh, sure, yeah, come in.
No thanks.
Yeah. Well,
roll 'em out?
and I was kind of like, okay, I guess. Like, here we go. And I walk into the guy's house, and there is, no joke, a kennel, like a fence kennel that you would put out in your backyard. In his living room. All the carpet is relatively recently ripped up and gone. And there is like 5 Rottweilers in
A cage.
in a cage in the guy's living room. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be eating a lot. Like, he's going to feed me to these dogs.
It's like the movie.
That's seriously what I thought. And he's like, oh, they're in the basement. And then so we have to walk
even
by.
better.
Yeah, I was like, great.
Oh, I had no idea you were coming to buy something from me. I couldn't prepare for
About
it.
to be this dude's gimp.
So we go in the basement, and turns out the reason they're in the basement and that he hasn't brought them up is because they're 140, 150 pound dumbbells. And the guy's
can't
like,
do it.
oh, I used to throw these around pretty good. He's got stories. I used to throw these around,
to
but
bench
he goes like
585.
this. He's like, my back doesn't like it anymore. So I had to carry them, so I grabbed
Give it the old
150
farmer's
pound
carry.
dumbbells, and I was like, I don't want to make 4 trips. I'd rather make 2, so I grab them and go. I got to go up his stairs, around through the inside of his house, and down his stairs on the porch. And with the second trip, I was literally like wondering if I was going to drop
Should've
these
brought
through the guy.
straps.
Yeah. But I got him out and didn't get shot or eaten by dogs. But just a funny story.
Wow.
I did have a gun with me. I was wondering if it was going to come in handy or not.
That's one nice thing about where we live. Gun laws are pretty. You could pretty much. You can carry a gun. You can shoot a person. For the most part, you'll be fine.
But to be fair, the guy turned out to be really nice, and he told me the dumbbells came from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I'm not sure if Kevin Garnett was bench pressing the 150 dumbbells.
I'm certain Kevin Garnett
It was
had it in
definitely
him
him.
with his reach. What was like the Kevin Durant at the?
He couldn't bench
couldn't
135 or 185 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Like-
Probably still can't bench very much more than that.
Yeah, and I'm like, you are one of the best quote athletes in the world. I think you're just tall with a good shot. But I remember when I had to pick up a bunch of equipment for the gym, you sent me with. It was a fair amount of money. It was probably like $1,600.
Yeah, something like that.
in cash.
Yeah.
And,
like in $100 bills in a
And like,
white
this is
envelope.
where I never see
And then he-
Tanner
yeah,
again. And
yeah.
I took off. And
Yeah, I'm like, Tanner don't know me very well. Some shit's about to fall off the truck. And so we and I have to meet in this like shady like McDonald's, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and I was picking up like that fucking the squat rack,
Yep.
a bunch of we probably talk about
Combo rack, a Oki deadlift bar,
the
50 kilogram
50 kilo plates,
which are the worst thing.
only have them because they're heavy.
Yeah.
And I think some little shit.
Yeah.
But so I'm not expecting a 1996 Grand Prix to pull up. And so this pulls up next to me. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And I'm fucking locked the doors. And then, the guy gets out. And I was like, oh, he's pretty big. And he texted me. And I'm like, God damn it, this is it. And so, we're there like pulling all this shit out of a fucking car. And it like somehow fits in this car, yet all of it barely fits in my truck with the tonneau cover down. But that's what you just have to be resourceful.
Yes, that's a good tip.
And we only have so much time. We only have so much money, so you got to kind of balance it all. But you're not. If you have like money to burn to start, like if you just had let's just say a dollar amount didn't matter. Let's just say like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 outright didn't matter. Would you have just been like, all right, let's put that money in something new. I don't have to spend a bunch of time. You are cheap.
Yeah, not
so
really.
That doesn't work for you.
But even like it probably took $5,000
of cutting deals.
Yeah. To really get to, you could do it for less, definitely.
Yeah.
But one thing that's expensive that I wanted is a full dumbbell set.
Yeah. And once you have it, you have it.
Yeah, and like you're not going to get that for like less than $1,000.
If it's a legit nice one.
And you're not going to get the amount of it depends on what you're going for, but if you're going to start with 10 to 15 people, you need equipment for, to support that many people. Yeah. So
you can't have one barbell and 8 set.
Right. So I had we had 2 squat racks, a bench, built those platforms. You spend a couple $100 just in materials for every platform that you build. And just the weights themselves, you're probably going to spend $1,000 on weights. So if you just look at the dumbbells and the weights, you'll probably spend a couple $1,000s on used stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And then once you throw in maybe 3 or 4 bars, if you buy any decent used ones, they're probably going to be at least $100 a piece still used even. And then good squat racks used, you could assume that they might cost you $500 a piece.
Yeah.
And then a good decent used bench is probably going to cost a couple $100. So you get to 5,000 like pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
But you could do it for less if you wanted a little bit lesser equipment too.
Yeah.
But I wanted to avoid as much as possible buying things, then in X number of months down the road having those be useless and have to buy something all over again. Like I wanted,
because there is a little bit of a buy nice or buy twice thing. Like there's certain things that does apply to, and you have to be smart enough to figure that out.
And it doesn't necessarily mean buy new.
No,
it just means like buy quality, whether it's even used.
I think the message with that stuff really is you do need to maximize to a certain degree, and your overall financial picture is going to dictate this, but you do need to maximize the value with which you buy each thing that you buy.
Yeah.
Like you got to get a good deal. You can't overpay for anything, but you do got to get some stuff that has some value.
And one other tip for kind of finding this stuff, you guys mentioned Craigslist is a huge one. Facebook, a lot of people are selling stuff on there. If you live in a town with a high school, multiple high schools, or even a university,
that's a good point.
Especially universities, there's money like pumping into those things a lot.
And
it's like trendy to buy new stuff with your logo on it, and so like places will just unload weight. So like all you got to do is kind of like put a bug in the ear of the trainer or some equipment manager, and they know you're the guy that we were basically going to have to throw this away. But
we've got like before I even started before we moved to the new spot, we don't use it now, but we got like free equipment out of my old high school gym. They were just giving it away. I was like, oh fuck it, I don't know, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's
like,
free.
like those people literally
then you can take something and get rid of it when you don't use it.
It's free.
And those people are like literally like looking most of the time looking for someone to just take it away from them so they don't have to deal with it.
You'll lift this and I don't have
to.
Yeah,
so that can be a
and in a lot
gold
of those cases, that's because there's a process attached to anything that has to be done like that. Meaning, if they got to have a fucking sale, there's a whole bunch of shit, and someone's got to get paid to do it. Whereas if you come to them, you can do really well. And I think for getting a relationship with the college and the high schools in your area, just say, hey, I'm looking for these things. That's really, really good advice.
And there's probably a good chance that even right now, your local college or high school has old stuff sitting around that they can't get rid of.
Yep.
Like because they, like you said, it's a deal. It's a big ordeal to try and sell it, and they don't know who the hell would want this old stuff.
And it could be really good equipment actually too. Just
Oh, yeah.
it might just may not
Especially
look like have the look that they
old
want.
weights probably are better most times than new
That's
weights.
a lot of. That's what I was gonna say. What they're trying to get rid of is, in my mind, a lot of times better than the shit that they have. Like
Here's the truth is, you're not going to find a Division I or Division II college weight room that has. You think you're going to find a 30-year-old bench press?
No.
Or
no.
a 20-year-old leg press?
No.
Or fucking a squat rack that's more than 20 years old? Or that has any fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, they keep, the whole point of those places are, there's a lot of public money being spent there.
And it's
they
got to be
spend-
flashy.
It's got to be spent somewhere.
It's got to be
look
flashy
nice
for recruiting. Like
Yeah, you
it doesn't
can't come
it-
into a gym that looks
Yeah.
like it has equipment like, and even though we have some really good quality stuff,
It wouldn't look.
it cannot look
good.
like
No,
our gym if
no,
you're going there.
Definitely not.
You know, and even like the shit I got out of our old high school, we got a fucking military press, we got
A leg
some
press
plates.
that's
I got a
bomb-proof.
fucking
A bench.
I got a leg press. I got the world's most bulletproof fucking bench press.
Yeah. And I mean, half that stuff is made by someone was literally sitting around welding shit. Like it's heavy duty.
That's another good tip is if you when you're looking for those first group of members, if you can find anyone that perhaps welds,
Yes.
can be pretty valuable because we have stuff in our gym that's been made, you know, that still works well.
Or we got it a certain way and had someone modify it to be
Yep.
better for us too.
Yep. All around, it's nice if you can. Your group of people.
You need an
if they
electrician,
do-
you need a heating guy, you need a
Seriously.
plumber, you need a welder.
If they do
An engineer.
if they do a lot of different things, it's nice
The
because
fact
there's
is, if you're smart about how you build your life, you should have those people
yes,
nearby.
yes, yes.
You need a boat mechanic. But so where are we at in the discussion right now? We've basically
we've
gone through
covered-
establishment, getting things moving. You have all your initial stuff going. Let's talk now about how you get from here you are, you have a gym, it's operating. Your guys, they like it. But like anything else, you have to plan to put money back into this.
You have to
If your
invest
plan
and
is to
maintain.
take money out of this, you're
Oh,
fucking
that's
up.
a good point. Yeah, there's. I've never taken any money out, in 3 years. Like, and I still have no intentions to. But if that's part of why it works, because if I had intentions to take money out, I think it would be dead.
We'd have the
already be
same
dead.
shit we had
Yeah,
2
yeah.
years ago,
Just and it wouldn't work. Yeah, everything that's ever come in just gets reinvested back.
The reason
into
we
it.
have even the amount of members now who aren't dicks is because now there is a lot of the new stuff.
Yeah. Now it's
Like,
pretty fun. We
you
get
wouldn't-
to get brand new things that are really
and that's
nice.
part of it is like you got to make an environment. If you're going to be starting this gym, making it an environment that you got to remember why you got into it. You got into it because you wanted to go to a place where it's like, oh, I feel like someone's taking care of me, like they're treating me. I'm like
Because the
presents
whole
are coming
time
in.
you were hating the place you were at,
Yeah.
you were like, it's not that fucking hard to give a little back. And so
Yeah.
your job now is, when you're in this position now, is to kind of prove that point.
Yeah.
That, all right, we're here. Yeah, I'm not making revenue, but like, I can't just be stingy here.
Right.
You can't fuck yourself over. But frankly,
you have to be smart enough to hold a little
Yeah.
bit of a cushion,
but a
because
little
things will
bit-
happen.
but a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't have. Let's talk where we're at right now. We're at a second location, bigger location, higher rent. Rent is what a month?
$625.
$625, and we're still doing pretty good. I'll be honest. Wherever you're at, that's about as good as you're probably going to get it for the amount of space we got.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yep.
But still,
But also, if you're in a bigger market, gym memberships probably cost double anyway.
Right.
So
that's
people are,
true.
yeah, you
like
can be in the middle there.
Right.
so and how many members you have?
30, give or take. It fluctuates.
So
So 35.
We won't get into the
Yeah.
details of all the
Yeah.
expenses, but just roughly every month, remove operating costs. How much kind of carries over from one month to another?
A
Few $100.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, maybe $300.
And it's
A
like
few
the-
$100,
Yeah.
and there might be some surprises.
yeah,
you might break a toilet
maybe
seat.
some months nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe the next month $400.
But
Yeah,
but like
maybe.
if this is something you really do see long term, a few $100 over the course of a year, you can buy a lot of shit with that.
Yeah.
Especially if
Yeah.
you're using those tips we just talked about of buying new
right.
stuff.
And so what we found now is, and Tanner's really good about being transparent with this. We actually all get as members the full it's just a Tanner thing. We get the full Tanner spreadsheet with all the things and all the money and all the things that we're like, I didn't even know those were things that we had to do, but he covered all his bases. And so everything is itemized list of like what money was spent on, how much money came in. So it's good for the members to know.
And I almost do that selfishly just so that like no one at the end of the day can be like, hey, what the hell were you doing? Like, I'd be like, well, look at the thing I send you every month. Like,
because the truth is, everybody will do soft math.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I own my CrossFit gym, and I will
100 of us. And,
I will openly tell people how many members I have.
Yeah.
And people will do very soft math, and then when I tell them what I actually get paid, they're like, "No, you got to be making way more than that." And I'm like, "No," and also, there's nothing left at the end of the month. Like nothing. Not carrying anything over.
Yes.
And people just don't understand that when you get in the thick of it, everything you do costs money. Like just paying yourself costs money. Like everything fucking has a cost associated with it. So I know exactly what you mean by that. Like if you didn't do that, people would be like, guys, listen, I know.
That fucker.
Tanner's he's getting fucking rich off this shit. He doesn't appreciate this. I'm going to get a new spot. Yeah. 10 of you guys want to come with me?
Exactly.
We're going back to the dungeon.
Exactly.
Fuck this guy. He's got a new motorcycle. And see that? It's that fucking Massenomics motorcycle.
And the circle of life continues.
Yeah, that would be. And with this, I can, it takes it out of it. It's like,
don't get me wrong. Tanner makes up all the numbers that are on the sheet. None of us would know. No. But so the nice thing that we get to see though is then, every 2 months, 3 months, we get like a couple really awesome. And the fact is, if your gym that you go to now, if they spent $60 to $100 every month on little things that are cool and new, I don't know, say a new hip circle and like
a new set of Pro Lock collars.
A set of collars.
Maybe just like some complimentary, nice straps. Even,
or like you know what I mean, just something that you're like, oh shit, that's pretty sweet. That costs a gym or a business or a lifting club or whatever you want to call your place. That's nothing. Like that's even nothing when you're making that. Yeah. But if you did that once a month, you're fine.
Yeah.
Or every other month. And then every 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you buy a really new, really nice barbell that people have been reading about on the internet forever. Like you're like, then like everybody's like, fuck, we're swimming. Yeah, we got this. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And like that happens 3-4 times a year, and over the course of a few years, you've just got everything that everybody wants.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have like $30,000 of equipment now at this point. It's like,
would you say
not necessarily worth that? Like if you really had to sell it and everything,
you just couldn't sell it here,
right?
Take a truck somewhere else, you do all right.
But to put it in perspective of like, I'm not trying to sell someone on the fact that just throw down it's going to be super easy and you'd have $30,000 worth of nice equipment. It's taken a lot of time and everything, but like to show how well it's worked, like we're to that point now, and without I didn't have to put down a ton of cash ever.
And these are assets that you do technically own now.
Yeah, and that's so I put in a lot of work and time and all of it and everything. I don't take anything out of it, but at the end of the day, most importantly, we have the gym that I like, and it's my favorite hobby, and like we get the place of like everything. Like I don't have to be like, damn it, when is this gym gonna buy a safety squat bar? Like, I'll just be like, hey, you guys, do you want a safety squat bar?
Tanner has to
Everyone's
walk,
like, yeah.
Tanner has to walk in and go, damn it, when am I gonna be able to buy a safety squat bar?
Yes. But so being able to do that, and then at the end of the day, I guess I do own that equipment, which is, it's sometimes I'm like, oh, something happened. Damn it, I own all that equipment. What am I going to do with that? Like, I have to get that somewhere. But, like, it does have some value,
Yeah.
So that is, I guess, the payoff. I don't
Yeah. Gym equipment might not be, depending on when and where and all that, the most liquid investment in the world, but it does sell.
Yeah. But if this whole thing goes tits up, you're not going to another gym. You're gonna take your favorite squat rack, your favorite bench. You're gonna take the plates you like, you're just gonna keep all the good bars, and you'll gradually get rid of the other shit. But you're gonna get to use the best of it forever.
Because the thing about that, what you said there, for as good as this is, and I'm probably not alone in this, there's no going back from this.
No,
like there's no me going to another
and it's
gym
also
again.
though there are things that are out of control. So like when you talk about long term, you never know. There could be something weird where a lot of people leave.
Yeah.
There could also be like the landlord could come in one day and just be like, you're done. And it could take 6 months to find a spot that's financially feasible and everything. So you can't ever take it for granted either, because
sure.
it is a living thing that continually has to be watched and monitored.
Yes, and there's always something. Like you would know that just with your place. There's just literally is always something. Like,
oh yeah.
Like you, whatever.
And the problem is I have a fair amount of clients, so then there's always some sort of complaint.
Yeah.
And they're all the worst complaints. They're all wonderful people, but the complaints are always, it's like, it's hot in here. And I'm like, well, let me back up. Hot is not a fucking objective thing when it's 74 in here.
Yeah.
Like, it's 74. That's not hot. That's okay. That's not hot. I'm sorry. That's just not hot.
Yeah.
And then in the winter, when it's 71,
That's cold.
It is so cold in here. You know, and you hear all the muttering, and you're like, listen, it cost me fucking, and in my gym, it cost me $2,000 this month to keep it 71. And then in July, it's going to cost me $2,000 to keep it 74. So you can go fuck yourself.
But also, you're at a gym working out. Like, what's
Christ,
the,
you wouldn't
isn't that
you wouldn't
Well, it's
believe
like,
it.
If it is cold, like, that's what sweats are for. Like, that's
and
literally
if
what they're made for. And
and
then
if it's
hot,
hot,
like, then you don't have to worry about sweats. Like, you're going to get there.
You're
Like,
fucking there to sweat. Like,
Yeah, I know, guys. Trust me, I know, and I've not, and I can't even articulate my opinion on such things in a compassionate way.
Yeah.
Because all I go is immediately to like, oh yeah, you're right. It seems pretty unreasonable for me to keep it 74 in here in the summer. You know, what the fuck am I thinking? How selfish can I be? Like, I'm in here longer than you are, and I promise 74 is hotter to me than it is to you. You know, like, I'm 330 pounds.
well,
Like,
I make my wife and children go through that
Tanner-
on an annual basis, and they're
Tanner, I bet-
that's
they're
probably a
pretty
whole other
understanding
discussion.
about it.
I bet Tanner hears more heat and cooling related complaints from 2 people than I do from 120.
To be fair, they're pretty good. Like, it's
They've acclimated.
Tanner has broken them. By now.
they know when the seasons are changing and how to plan their lives
Physically been
accordingly.
beat down.
As soon as summer ends and like Mary has to turn the air conditioning off, she's like, "All right, Jack,
Things are going to
we need
get
to
cold.
do our best to enjoy
I need
it
you to
while
be
we
tough
can."
for mommy.
They whisper in the behind closed doors
Yeah,
when
like-
I'm not around.
Mom, when is Daddy going to turn the heat on? It's 45 degrees in here. Dad doesn't turn the heat on until the water in our cup starts to freeze, little Jack.
It's only slight.
But
Exactly.
listen, if you want to be able to buy the equipment and be able to, float that type of an
You
investment,
got to freeze your
you
family.
got to freeze your family. You can't be paying
cannot
to
have it all.
heat your own home.
Yeah. All that being said, if you're this advice could be good for someone if you're in a similar situation where there's no other good options for you of a
It's a
place.
good
gym.
fucking option.
Yep. But if you live in a place, if you live where Diamond K lifting is in Alabama, just go there.
Yeah, you
just
probably
go. You're not going to get a place. If
Someone's
someone's
already
shelling
done
out
all this
all
for
that
you.
cash for an awesome place like
and
that.
the other thing is, if you're at a spot where the difference is you spending an extra 10 or 15 minutes driving, fucking drive.
Just
Drive. Like, you know what? Drive. Listen to the entire backlog of Massenomics podcasts.
Yes.
We got you.
multiple times, and that'll get you there.
But if you're at a place where the other options really aren't there, it could work out well for you. It could be something to think about.
yeah, that's the key though. Is like, so if where you're at blows, find a better place.
Yeah.
If you cannot find a better place, if it means anything to you, you better make a better place.
Yep.
And that's it. Like, you don't have to go all in on. But I hear it from a lot of people all the time. They just don't have anywhere good to train. And the fact is, like, the Globo Gym type place, your 24-hour fitnesses, your Planet Fitness, your Anytime Fitness, a lot of those places are fucking dog shit places to get strong.
Yeah.
They're not. They're fluffy places. 80% of it's cardio machines, and the whole vibe does not work for getting actually strong. It just doesn't. And if it does for 1% of the people, it will probably not work for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you just have to fucking find your thing.
And if you need to do it on a smaller scale, say you only have 3 or 4 people, if one of those people is willing to pony up their garage space, you can make it work that way easier. Yeah. Like big Jacob Daigle and he's got a garage strongman set up that
He has an apartment. It's not even a
enviable.
garage in his house, right?
I don't know if they exact.
No. That's Tim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Tim will go travel to
You
train
know,
at
but
Jacobs.
so Jacob's got his huge spot. It's about an hour away, I think, hour and a half away from Tim.
they
them.
travel there
They
regularly.
travel there, I think,
Yeah.
like once a week to
Yeah.
do their strongman work there. They train, they lift during the week wherever they can,
Yep.
but to do their implement work. That's the thing, strongman stuff. There's a lot of real specific equipment,
Yeah.
and so you got to just get that stuff as you can. If you were to just open a strongman gym, like, you really got a nickel and dime because it's a lot of
Yeah.
specialty stuff, and
Yeah.
you still need every other tool you need to get strong too.
Yep.
Like, you still need the barbells, the squat racks, the bench, all those things.
Yep.
So
yeah, we didn't really even touch on any of the strongman stuff. That's just all
all
over
that.
time,
The
but,
truth is, like
it's-
anything else, that was just some stuff you just started
Yeah.
acquiring
Yeah.
again.
But it is the same process,
Yeah,
like what
yeah.
we described. It's,
Yeah. So I think though, when like you said, like with Tim, in Sioux Falls, he doesn't have a place to put all his strongman stuff, yokes,
I
fucking
think it's a
handles,
storage garage,
and
probably.
he has an apartment. And you know how a lot of apartments you can pay extra to rent a little garage unit. He doesn't park his car in there. That's where his shit goes,
Yeah.
and that's where he shuts the door and trains in the winter, and opens the door and goes out and trains in the summer.
Yep.
And it just, at least you can get his implement work in there.
Yep.
And that's wanting it.
Yep.
That's what wanting it is. So, but that's the deal. If what you have sucks, fucking make something that doesn't suck. Or otherwise, you just get to complain forever. Yeah.
But some of you probably want to do that anyways.
At some point, too, though, like Tanner said, like, at some point, you can only complain so long before then, like, if you're still bitching about it and not offering a solution, like, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, so get out there and be somebody, guys.
And that's our motivational episode.
That is our motivational
if you
episode.
believe it, you can achieve it.
Yeah, why and how you should start your own gym.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. We're just going to, let's do a real quick breakdown of everything that we discussed so we can give it in a 5-step, step-by-step internet meme. 1, get jobs. 2, get khakis. 3, get the girl. 4, girl has money. 5, buy all the gym equipment.
You're done.
6, profit.
Yeah, that
Profit.
is the most important one.
What was that? What was the South Park thing?
Yeah.
You start up, bro down, and you sell out. So, well, I think that's everything we needed to cover, right?
I think so.
That's it.
That'll
That's
get you
it.
going.
That'll get you going. If you have any questions about all the real legal specifics in your own area, take them all, write them down, and I want you to look up the Massenomics Instagram page. Get ready to write a DM. Don't talk to somebody in your area that knows the answer to those questions. But for real though, this is a process that was actually a lot. It's not easy, but it is definitely feasible.
Very doable.
And it's not impossible.
No.
Tanner is not wildly more intelligent than we are. He is, however,
Not even at all. I would.
he is, however, much more organized than we are. So that's probably the one thing that you have to be
A
detail.
stupid weird
oriented.
tip is just get a binder, like
Yeah.
like because you're gonna end up. I have a binder that's like now this thick of
Just shit.
things like that. I'm even like, I don't know. Do I need to keep this anymore? But it's like
yeah.
probably because something's gonna come up and like, well, do you have that? And I'm like, well, no. Where would I have that?
My thing is like, I don't know what that is.
But yeah,
So be organized
yeah.
and have balls. So, well, that'll do it for us today. Make sure you go to Massenomics.com. There you're going to find the store. You can buy all the hats, the shirts, all the things that none of us are wearing right now.
You can buy this shirt there. You
can buy that
stylish shirt.
The so just look at the person you're sitting next to right now. I'm sure they're wearing a Massenomics shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they're not, you need to find a new person.
Find new
to sit
people to
next
hang out with. So, but there you're also going to find all the articles and videos and such. If you want to contact us for sponsorship information, email us at getbig@massenomics.com. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube's channel. That's YouTube/Massenomics. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. I heard 6-star reviews were going to become a thing. So if you've left us a 5-star review in the past, go on and try to leave us a 6-star with a new account.
You guys really need to bump up the reviews out there.
Yeah. They've got
Yeah,
missing
listen,
here.
we
had a
haven't
good
been
stretch.
we haven't been too pushy about them, but the ones that we've got were so good that they almost bought you guys like a little bit of leniency from us. But it's time to step up your game again.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have a single one of the 6-star reviews ever since they rolled them out. So.
Oh.
But anyway, subscribe to our YouTube channel for sure, and follow us on Facebook. I think that's it. I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler F. and Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. Tommy?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
The Massenomics page at Massenomics.
Wait, I didn't lead into that. Who are you? Who is it
we
that said
blew
those
it.
things? Guys, that was Tanner.
That was the skull man.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next week, and stay strong.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears. You're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.